Hello, my name is Sarah Coderre, and I am an employment, labor, and human rights lawyer at Bow River Law in Calgary, Alberta. Today I'm going to be answering the question, what is an independent contractor? Simply, an independent contractor is a type of employee who has independence and control over the work that they're doing. So to be more specific, if you are an independent contractor, you will control your own hours of work, where you work from, how your work is getting done, and oftentimes the way in which you're getting paid for your work is through invoicing a client or a company that you work with for specific services that you've provided to them. So a great example of an independent contractor would be a hairstylist at a salon. Oftentimes, the way that these arrangements work is that an individual stylist will be assigned a chair at a salon. The stylist will perform services for clients, and a portion of that money will go to the salon, and a portion is kept by the stylist. The stylist is responsible for bringing their own tools, so their own combs, brushes, blow dryers, specialty tools to the salon. They're also in charge of their own hours. If they want to work every single Saturday in a row, they can do that. If they choose to take Saturdays off but want to work later hours when the salon is open, they can do that as well. They have autonomy, and at the end of the day, if they choose to leave the salon, they take their tools with them and they go somewhere else. Let's contrast that with an employee. An employee is somebody who does not have control over the tools that they're using for their job, and they don't have control over their workplace conditions, like the hours of work, where they perform that work from, or how the work is being done. So in some cases, for example, at newer salons, you might have a stylist who's an apprentice, and that apprentice is actually an employee. So that apprentice does not get to say whether or not they're going to work every Saturday or not. They're given a schedule by the manager of the salon telling them which days and which shifts they're actually working. At the end of the day, that stylist is given an hourly wage for their work, and the salon keeps whatever additional monies are brought in, once that's deducted from the apprentice's hourly wage. The apprentice, because they're just starting out, likely doesn't have their own tools. So the salon provides tools for them to use on customers that come to that salon. And at the end of the day, the apprentice doesn't really have control over whether or not they're working certain hours or even what chair they're being assigned to at the salon. It's all up to the salon management to dictate that for them. There is a third category of employees who sort of fall somewhere sort of in the middle. They're not quite an employee because they do have some independence to an extent, but they're not fully an independent contractor. And also in the case of an independent contractor, just to make it really, really clear, an independent contractor in the case of a salon could be somebody who works at multiple salons in the city. So there might be, salon A has hours of operation from Tuesdays to Fridays, and they have late hours. And maybe in that case, that stylist works, the afternoon shifts and into the evening at that salon. And then salon B doesn't have late day appointments, but it's got early morning hours for a certain set of clients, and it also is open on Saturdays and Sundays. And that independent contractor works morning hours at the other salon, salon B, and also works on Saturdays and Sundays there. In the case of the independent contractor, they are allowed to work at Salon A and Salon B simultaneously, as long as they meet their commitments for the time that they have agreed to work at Salon A and Salon B. And the owners of Salon A and Salon B can't stop them from working at either salon or working with, out of their basement on, statutory holidays or something like that. And so the third category of employee that I want to draw your attention to is called a dependent contractor. So this is somebody who, in the case of a salon stylist, for example, they would have some independence because maybe they're on a fee split with the salon and they can have some say over their own hours and have some autonomy over that, but they're only working at one actual salon. And maybe they have an arrangement with the salon that, they don't want them working anywhere else but with them. So they've guaranteed that they'll have a certain number of hours if they want to work them every week, and they've guaranteed them a specific chair so they feel they have a little bit more stability in terms of where they can be every day. And they've given them a little cubby or a locker at the salon to store all their things overnight, so they don't have to keep coming and going because they're really only going to be at that one salon. In this case, the employee is considered to be a dependent contractor because they are Even though they have some independence, they are wholly dependent on the one employer for their income. And as a result of that, while they aren't strictly speaking an employee and do have some flexibility around their hours, because, in our example of the dependent contractor, the salon has given them, a certain number of hours per week that if they want to work, they can work, and they will make sure that there's a chair available for them. In that case, they do have some flexibility, but they are also sort of dependent, similarly to the employee apprentice that we discussed, who doesn't have any other option but to work at that one salon. Now, why does this matter? If you're an independent contractor, truly an independent contractor, then at the end of the day, there are freedoms that you have, but you're giving up certain rights. So for example, if you're an independent contractor, you are not going to be found to be entitled to things like reasonable notice under the common law. Additionally, if you, let's say, are an independent contractor at a salon, you're doing a dye job, and you burn somebody's scalp, you are personally liable for that, not the salon. Whereas employees typically are not going to be found personally liable for acts of negligence during the course of their employment. That's going to rest with the employer. As well, employees also are entitled to receive reasonable notice in the event that they're terminated from their employment without just cause. A dependent contractor, like I've outlined before, sort of blends a little bit of both of that. So depending on the level of dependence, they may be viewed as being more like an employee and be entitled to things like reasonable notice and protections from personal negligence and liability under the common law. So whether or not you are an independent contractor does have some pretty big ramifications for your legal rights and your entitlements in a workplace. And if you're not sure whether or not you're an independent contractor, you should absolutely make some time to speak with an employment lawyer and find out. Thank you.